Hello, everybody. It's Bob Anderson, and it is September 12th, 2023. I got a little quick video I'm going to do regarding the indicator and where I sit with it and all that kind of good stuff. So, first off, I want to state that I have started trading it live myself to try to, make sure it does what I want. and I have determined that I got to do something. I don't know what the issue is, but it does not execute the way I want it to execute. You got to remember what I'm doing behind the scenes is, say, on the indicator side, I am pretending that I am you and I'm using it. So I need it to do X, Y, Z, PDQ for it to be functionable and working for you. On the mechanical auto trader system thingamajig, whatever you want to call it, I have to presume that you're going to be trading, a live account with AMP futures, or you're trading evaluation account with Lilu, or you're trading multiple accounts, like 10 with AMP futures, with Apex or something like that. And while I'm got to assume that, I've got to run this thing like it's those things. And that's what I've been doing. And so one of the things I've determined very recently is that it's not executing my trade management in live trading the way I want it to. In replay and in backtesting and all that stuff, it does it flawlessly, but in actual live trading, especially when I'm running my 10 accounts, which is what I'm doing. I'm running 10 accounts on this. Or I'm trying to, I should say. But it's not executing the trades the way I want to. So what I talked to the coder about is, okay, by the way, I have already pulled the two systems apart. The indicator is all by itself now, and it literally is an indicator. And it's going to load as an indicator. The bot system is a strategy, and it's going to load as a strategy. As a strategy, it takes up a little more computer power, that kind of stuff, versus the indicator. That's why I was adamant that the indicator actually be an indicator, not a strategy. So it's easier for you guys to use when if you get the indicator version. It's easy. You don't have to have, you don't have to have, all this computer brain and all that kind of stuff. Now with the strategy, with the strategy, what I have discussed with the coder is I'm going to have the strategy talk to the ATM in Ninja, so that the Ninja is actually entering the trade, the Ninja ATM, and then what we're going to do is we're going to create codes, create strategies to load into your ATM, so that it's Ninja controlling the actual trades. It's going to be better for you. It's going to be safer for you. I came to this reality when I'm sitting there trading 10 accounts and I'm having some problems with some executions and stuff. I'm thinking to myself, I don't have these problems when I trade with in the Ninja platform with the Ninja ATM. So I'm having that coded right now, so that I'm going to pull the trading. Everything's going to stay in the strategy. The strategy is going to make the decisions. The strategy is going to make the decision where the trade enters. The strategy is going to do all the thinking, like it's supposed to. But the actual execution and the actual contracts laid out, the actual stop losses, targets, and ATM is all going to be handled right in the Ninja platform itself instead of the strategy. That's all for your safety and security, along with mine. Because as an actual trader, I'm thinking about security for me and you. Okay, so that's one of the things that I've come to the realization of trading it live. Okay, is that I need to get the actual trading itself out of the strategy. Let the strategy be the brains. Let the strategy determine everything. Let the ATM that is impeccably good and efficient from Ninja do everything else. So, and that'll eliminate potential more problems and stuff like that, because your strategy is no longer tied to the trade. Ninja is. So if you got some kind of problem, some kind of glitch, whatever, it's on Ninja. So anyways, that's one of the main things I'm working on right now. Now, one of the things I want to talk about that is really, really cool that I have come to the conclusion on in doing this. Well, negative and cool. Negative is, I'm not a coder. Okay. I'm not a I don't create strategies. I don't offer strategies, automated strategies, any of that stuff. I don't do that. I've never done that before in my life. Okay. Now I have programmed before, so I understand the lingo, and I understand the logic. I understand loops and things, and if then it's decision trees with loops. I understand how it works. I understand how it thinks. Now, that being said, one of the problems I have is that I have realized that there in the creation of this, there have been decision trees that duplicate decision trees. So I am supposed to sit down with the coder and go through each trade code by code and pull out duplicate decision trees, because sometimes they end up fighting each other. It uses up some of the computer power. All this is to make this thing efficient for you, the user, and for me as a user also, because I'm going to use this thing. I'm not just putting it out there. I'm using it myself. I'm currently using it on 10 accounts. I'm not I'm not doing fabulously well because of some of the trade executions. Oh well, and like today, I don't even think anything made any money today. We'll talk about that in a minute. So one of the other things is that I have found, though, that now that this thing works, now that 99.9% of the trades it's identifying with and a minor glitch, maybe here or there, where there was a trade a few days ago I saw that it didn't take and I had to get something. Anyways, it's again, in computer language, it goes literally. So if you say this, and this, it literally does this, and this. Even though you may not have meant this, it does it literally. So you see literal on your screen and you go, well, shit, that's not what I meant. And so you got to go back in and tweak things. Anyways, to get to the point, one of the really cool things is, now that I have this set up, it's great to see with backtesting that some of the implied thoughts that I carried into this strategy are actually real. When I say this, and this, these turn out to be real things that impact your P&L. So let me talk about some of these real things, okay? So for example, on the NQ, it says here, like this candle, this is a 5R, right? 5-minute red line, because it went up, it created a gap here, it passed the gap test right here, rolled up, came down, here's your first 5R, right? Well, this is a 48 tick candle. So it won't take, 40.8. It's 40.8 from here, which is the red line, to the top of the candle. 40.8 ticks. Okay. This is NQ. So, what I have talked about is that if the candles are too large, you don't want to take a trade because it's too far from It's too far from the place that it got pushed for you to get the momentum for the trade to work. That's my feeling. Okay, that's my feeling. Let's talk about reality. Reality is this, and this is very interesting. So I ran some of these numbers a day or two ago, so they're a little bit off from right now because this is run through today. But anyways, on the 5R in the NQ as an example, if you made your candle allowable candle distance 40 and below for a long off the 5R, your profit was $1,600 less than if it was 30 ticks or below. Now, why is that? Well, it goes back to what I said. It was a feeling of mine that if you took the trade too far out in the middle of nowhere, that you're doing FOMO trading. Okay? So you're chasing, and then what happens when the traders know you're chasing? They have a tendency to roll it back and squeeze you out, and then they run the other way. So your profits drop for the month. For the month, they drop $1,600 on that trade alone. On that trade alone, the 5R in NQ. Okay? So you might say, well, Bob, why don't we consolidate the number a lot? Okay, we'll consolidate the number. Instead of using, say, 30, let's use 25. So what happens then? Well, then you start eliminating trades. And when you start eliminating trades, you might start eliminating profitable trades. You might not, but you might only be eliminating bad trades. So let's change the numbers, run the system. If you go to 25 as this gap right here, then your profit goes down $2,000 from the number being 30. $2,000, just 5 ticks, just 5 ticks cut of the candle top. So what's that tell you? There's probably a sweet spot. There's probably a sweet spot between 25 and 30 ticks on the 5R that you want to take every one of those trades. That's probably a sweet spot in there. But anyways, so that is really cool because that's reaffirmation of what I've thought. And so I bring this up because the system's doing all those calculations for you. Now, I'll give you an example. So here's perfect. Here's a 40. Okay, so this is a reset because we had all the open and close below the red line, rolled up. We passed our gap test right here. So that's what this red line right here means from here to here. Okay, so the gap is the distance from the bottom of a candle wick to the line. I have to have a certain gap. I talk about you want that rolling donut. Well, to create that rolling donut, you got to create that gap that creates that push, that momentum. Okay. Well, here's your gap test. Roll up, boom, 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 down. Here's your 5R again. But here your 5R is 40. This is 40 ticks. And that darn trade worked. But the interesting thing is, even though this trade worked, the statistics show you that if you took all those trades that are over 30 ticks from the red line, you will actually make less money than if you only take the ones that are 30 ticks and below. How do you learn that? Change the stuff right in the system, boom, run the numbers, bam, and you just run your little strategy, you get your little performance, and here you go. Come on. It's going to pop it over here. I got to drag it over. Hold on here. And there you are. So there's your, oh, shoot. I just knocked it out. Sorry. I was trying to make it look a little more usable. So here we are. So $7,520 as of the end of today. This is a 30-day run. So this is with two contracts. This is what I have the 5R running off of on just the NQ. This is just the 5R on the NQ. That's just the 5R with two contracts. For the 30 days, it made $7,520. Not bad. The key is it makes $750 when it wins. It loses $250 when it loses. So that's the key. That's the key. Okay. The key is to try to keep those losses as small as possible and those wins as big as possible. Now, I'm not squeezing these trades. I'm not squeezing these 5R trades as much as I do the 5G and the 1G, because you really got to kind of give that red line some room to work, to push, to move price back in the direction that it came from. All right. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on there. Now, the other thing I found out, I shouldn't say I found out. I mean, these are things I know, but it's reaffirmation, and that's this. So you've got this gap that we're talking about. So, you can have, let's go back over here. I think it's over here. Is it? Was it here? Is it over here? Is it over here? Hold on here. Let me see where I can find this. I want to talk about it. Is it here? What was it yesterday? Hold on here. Give me a second. God dang it. I had a perfect example of what I'm talking about with these gaps. And the reason these gaps are important. And it's not in here either. Okay. Well, anyways, what the gap is supposed to do. Oh, it's probably in oil. Yeah, hold on here. It was in oil. Let me pull up oil. There's oil. Here's oil. Okay, so here you go. Got the same concept here. You got a gap that the red line is looking for before it'll do a T1 or a T2 or anything like that. So you have your cross, you have your push up. And once your gap reaches a certain point, it does a counter. So the bottom of your candle here, all the way down to here, passes that gap test. What that means is you've pushed and created enough space to your left so that when you have your pullback to your red line, because this is a red line counter, there's one for the 5-minute gold line and there's one for the 1-minute gold line too. But we're just talking about the 5-minute red line right now. When it passes that gap test, then that means when it rolls back, it'll go from T1 to T2. If it doesn't create enough of a gap, and it rolls back to the red line, it keeps you out of the trade. That's important because what it's proving statistically is that if you don't give it a certain specific gap and it comes back to that red line, you're just going to get caught up in chop. Where's a good example? Right here. All through here, I know it's hard to see because you can't really tell. And by the way, I'm getting rid of a bunch of stuff on these charts. But there are no of those red lines. None of these red lines right here are being put in there. And since there's none being put in there, guess what's not happening? You're not getting any false triggers for a red line long when it comes back or a red line short, when it goes short. It's keeping you out of taking chop trades. Okay? Unlike this, then all of a sudden it blows up. And as soon as it got to this candle right here, then you had that gap again. And then your counter starts and boom, there's T1. Okay? So here's the interesting thing about those gaps. Some of you may be like, well, that gap, how important can that be, Bob? That thing can be extremely important. And each one of these instruments has its own temperament on that gap. And so when you get all your other stuff honed in, you can then start playing, because behind the scenes, I have gap measurements. So you can change it from say like I think the gap on oil is it's 15 ticks, I think. But if I make it like let's just say I make it 10, then the thrust and the pullback is causing more false trades that work for the 5R, and therefore you're eating into your profits. So what's really cool is I'm able to manipulate, looking back 30 days, what do I want those gaps to be, so that when we're doing our counts, 1, 2, we're taking reasonable tests. We're testing gaps. We're testing like in the 5-minute red line and in the 1-minute red line. We're testing the 60-minute look back from the pullback. We're testing behind the scenes, what you're not even seeing on these charts. What you don't even see on these charts is I have a way to switch behind the scenes. I'm switching what are the strengths of the pivot indicators for the pullbacks to either validate or invalidate a trade. Because if a pullback breaks a specific pivot level on different instruments, each one has their own little pivot level. But if it breaks a pivot level on the 5G in certain instruments, then it doesn't work statistically. Okay. So behind the scenes, I've got that being calculated with the 1R and the 5G. So I'm really liking this, because what it's really doing is it's removing so much of the things that I used to kind of think but not really know. It was just a feeling like, I don't feel good about this trade because of X, but I wouldn't really know. Now the system is going to be like, look, we looked back the most recent 30 days. It's trending this way. This is the gap we should be using now. This is the pivot strength we should be using on the pullbacks for the 5-minute gold line. This is the gap we should be using on the 5G. This is the whatever. These are the trade times. You want to know something really amazing about the NQ? The income on the NQ almost doubles throughout the month if you trade the NQ 5R trade through the lunch hour. Wow. Wow. Almost doubles if you trade the 5R on the NQ through the lunch hour. That is not the case, by the way, in oil. So again, it goes back to the instruments have their own life. They have their own, good, bad, and ugly. So that's why each one of them is going to have their own settings. Let's see what oil did for the last 30 days, because I think I have this one on 30 days also. This is running 2 contracts. I've really got this thing dialed for swing trading, really. That's what you'll see when I show you these results. If this is my 30-day results, I think they are. Yeah, here's my 30-day results. Okay, so here's the last 30 days. 2 contracts, $8,060. $8,060, 2 contracts. The drawdown is only $900. So oil's doing pretty good. Now I'm going to scare you. You ready for me to scare you? I'm going to scare you on this because it scared me. And when I show you what I'm about to show you, I'm going to tell you something that's even more scary than this. These are the profit levels. Average winning trade, $1,357. This is 2 contracts. 2 contracts, folks. Average losing trade, $155. Holy shit. So, but here's the key. This is not even optimized. According to the system, I should be running at $1,800 a trade. And I was like, are you insane? I can barely run this. 1,500 is scary enough. So I have it sitting at 1,500. I could have put it at 1,800 and made the numbers even higher, because it's literally telling you, when I went back for the last 30 days, that I should have been taking these trades with the intent of making $1,800 a trade, not 1,500, which is the max right here. So each one of the winners should have had another 300. This thing's over $10,000 for the month. And we're talking about, now you remember, we're talking about most of August in the dead period. And we're talking through, Labor Day. We're talking oil inventory days. We're talking every day. This thing, I don't have news pulled out. I don't have any of that. Okay. But I have it optimized at the way it's setting now for its gaps, for its swing strengths, and its bar sizes. And that's what I came up with. Anyways, like I said, I have the indicator and the auto trader separated right now. I've got to get the auto trader talking to Ninja so that Ninja's executing the trades. It's going to be better for all of us. These are things I wouldn't have known until I started trading it. I told you guys, I'm not going to have you use this thing until I use it with my money. Okay? Once I use it with my money and I feel comfortable with my money, then I'll let you have it so you can use it with your money. All right? I'll talk to you guys later. Everybody have a good day. Bye.